Believe it or not, some of the best pasta sauces happen fast, not slow. So today, I'm gonna show you 3 incredible restaurant quality pasta sauces that do not take that long to pull together. In fact, I guarantee you can make these sauces in a faster time than it takes for the pasta to cook. But before we start, I wanna thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. It's the all-in-one website creation platform that makes it incredibly easy to showcase your work. But more on that later. 3 sauces, one of them only has 5 ingredients. Let's get stuck in. Need some pasta. Oh. What if I told you that some of Italy's most famous and classic sauces are actually faster to make from scratch than they are to open a jar? It's probably not quite true, but it's not far off it. So we are gonna make Arrabbiata, which is a very classic kind of spicy tomato sauce. There's a few different versions of this one, so don't come at me if your version is not the same as mine. First things first, we're gonna get the pasta cooking. Now, even in my intro, I said we're gonna start from when the pasta starts to boil, and I'm so confident that this one takes even less time that the pasta water is already boiling. So I got 500 grams of penne here, which will be enough for 4 people or 2 people if you like eating a lot of food or a lot of pasta. You don't need heaps of water. In here, I've probably got 2 liters of water, and we just need a big pinch of salt. Make sure you season your water. It doesn't need to taste like the ocean. It also doesn't need any oil in there. All the oil does is come to the top, and it doesn't do anything at all. Pasta goes in, and then we start the timer. Use the time it says on the packet, minus 2 minutes, start tasting it. It says 10 minutes on this packet. In 8 minutes, I'm gonna start tasting this. As soon as your pasta goes in, give it a stir, and then you're gonna stir it 2 or 3 more times throughout the cooking. It's gonna make the pasta cook evenly, and the stirring action is what stops it from sticking together, not the olive oil in there. It's gonna move this to this other burner, and because it's not quite boiling again yet, I'm gonna put a lid on it. I'm gonna put another saucepan on the heat, turn the heat down to medium, and we're gonna add a couple of tablespoons of good quality olive oil. Yum. Garlic. Italian food doesn't actually use that much garlic, so I'm going to use way more than they probably would in Italy. Especially in the north, I believe, they use hardly any garlic. We're just crushing that and putting it in the oil. We don't need to cut it. We don't need to chop it up if you don't want to. You can. Cooking the garlic is going to teach you all about time and temperature control. What we want to do here is slowly open the garlic up, and if we do that over 3 or 4 minutes, it's actually going to be edible, this garlic. You're going to be able to chew on it, and yes, you're going to have garlic breath, but it's going to be delicious. What we're trying to do is infuse that oil with that garlic. Little pinch of salt, and we'll let that slowly come up to temperature. We don't want the garlic to get too brown, it will go bitter. We're trying to get the sweetness out of it. Now my pasta water is up to boil. I'm going to give it another little stir. Keep that working around. Next up, good quality tin tomatoes. Whole tin tomatoes, they're the better quality ones than the diced tin tomatoes or the crushed tin tomatoes. Put them in a bowl like this. Make sure you've got a clean hand, and you're going to crush them. Just do it slowly, otherwise you might end up with tomato juice all over your nice shirt. That's never fun. That's what we're looking for, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of browning. We don't want that to get too dark. We don't need this to be like fully pureed, but you just don't want any big bits of tomato. Our garlic has pretty much done its job now. It's got a nice light color, and at this point, if you were having a date over and you didn't want really gnarly garlic breath, you could actually pull that garlic out if you wanted to. You could also crush it a bit more or just leave it in. I love chewing on big bits of garlic. Caitlin, not so much. So I'm gonna squash this down a little bit more. See how easy that squashes now, because it's pretty much fully cooked. I think it's important mentioning here that this isn't traditional Italian cooking, and the reality is that in Italy, dishes are cooked differently all over the country. There is one dish later on as well, which is kind of a favorite, but has got a bit of a kind of a faux pas attached to it these days, and is definitely not a traditional Italian dish. It's an American Italian dish. Our garlic's good to go. It's time to add our dried chili. Add as much or as little as you want. You'll find, again, traditionally in Italy, they use a little bit of chili. They don't use heaps of chili. They use it to kind of flavor or perfume the oil, not necessarily to have it like spicy hot like you would in like Thai food. Heat back up, then you go the tomatoes. Stir that through. Just be really careful. If your oil's too hot, those tomatoes are going to boil really quickly and splatter. Now we really want to cook these out for at least 4 or 5 minutes, this tomato. You just don't want that raw tomato flavor. So you will have to cook it out for that amount of time before we add our pasta. Just going to give it a little season with salt, and then let's go cut some herbs before we start checking our pasta. We've got a little bit of basil here that we're going to chop, and then we've got quite a lot of parsley for this one. Turn that down. You don't want that to go too crazy for a couple of reasons. You don't really want it to burn or catch. It's also kind of dangerous. Hot tomato sauce on your skin is gonna hurt. So the basil, I like to just tear up. I think when you cut basil, it sometimes kind of bruises it. Just tear it up into small pieces. I don't know if that's like a placebo effect or something, this torn basil thing, but I don't know, I like it. It's quite a delicate leaf, basil, isn't it? Then we've got a bunch of parsley here. Now, in a restaurant, you would pick this. You know, if I was running a restaurant, I'd make my chefs pick that before we cut it. At home, I'm not gonna bother. I'm just gonna roll it up tight and then run a knife through it. I just wanna run a knife through it once too. I don't really wanna kind of like come back over this and get it really, really fine. I find when you do that to herbs, it's when they start tasting a little bit grassy because you kind of bruise them so much. So once you get to the end, should be good to go. If you've got a few big bits around the outside, pull those to one side and just go through again once more, but done. This is home cooking, not fancy restaurant cooking. So our sauce is almost ready, our pasta's almost ready. We've got our herbs ready to go. We've got some cheese, some delicious pecorino, which is one of my favorite cheeses. And in fact, I actually just love eating this cheese like it is. Sweet, a little bit nutty, yum. So let me tell you a little bit more about Squarespace. Building an online presence is crucial for showcasing your work and your brand. Now, Squarespace makes this process even easier with their design intelligence feature. Instead of starting from a blank page, you answer a few questions about what you want and it builds a website completely personalized to your style. You can still tweak everything to make it your own, but you're starting from something that already looks great. And their built-in SEO tools make it easy for people to find your site. With features like auto-generated sitemaps and customizable meta descriptions, you're gonna reach the right audience in no time. Creators also benefit from integrated social media tools that automatically share across platforms, saving time on distribution while building an audience across multiple channels, which is super important. So if you want to create your own site, then head over to squarespace.com/AndyCooks for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code AndyCooks to save 10% off your first purchase. Now we've only got 2 minutes left, so let's get back to the pasta. Beep. All right, let's check our pasta. So take a piece out carefully, put it on a board, cut it open, and have a look. You can see here, there's still like a white ring in the inside. That usually means that the pasta's not quite cooked yet. The other way to check if it's cooked or not is to eat it. It's pretty close though. All right, our pasta is cooked. We're gonna drain it over a bowl because we wanna keep some of that pasta water. That's why we don't use that much pasta water either, because it becomes nice and full of all that extra starch that's come off the pasta. You don't need all of it. Drain that. Stir the sauce through. We're gonna have a taste of the sauce quickly. See where we're at with seasoning. Wow, delicious. Little pinch of salt, and our pasta goes. Stir that through. So why the pasta water? Well, you want to use a little bit of that starchy pasta water. Helps emulsify the sauce. It'll thicken it up slightly. If you use too much, obviously it'll make it wetter, which is also a good thing to do. If you start mixing this and you're like, oh, there's not enough sauce on it, add a little bit of that pasta water and make a mess everywhere. This is the beauty of using one of these saucier pans. You can toss it like this, which will help that pasta water emulsify nicely into the sauce. And even more important when you're making other sauces that you're trying to put cheese through. We're gonna put cheese on the top of this sauce, not necessarily through it. Look how glossy that looks though, delicious. Okay, all the basil goes in, most of the parsley, toss that through. Time to serve. How easy is that? Pretty simple to serve this one. Oh, make a mess. I was about to say, carefully place it into a bowl so you don't make a mess you gotta clean up. And then I dropped it all into a bowl. Bit more parsley on top. As little or as much pecorino on the top. And if you're like me, it's usually a lot. Protein and all that, you know? And a little drizzle of really good olive oil. So there you go, Arrabbiata. It's quick to make, it's cost effective to pull together, and it tastes way better than any jar sauce you'll ever buy. And if you're someone that's already starting to type, what about the protein? Then do like the Italians do and have a grilled piece of fish or a grilled piece of chicken on the side afterwards. Let's have a taste. It looks like it's gonna burn my tongue. I'm gonna do it for you. It's delicious, it's warm, it's comforting, and it's the bowl of pasta that you kind of expect if you went around and had lunch at one of your mates' nonna's houses. Make this dish, it's amazing. This next sauce is super easy and super elegant, and it only has 5 ingredients. We're doing a classic pesto to go with pasta, and the pasta that we're using is fusilli. The reason I love this pasta for this dish is all those little curls have all these little spaces for all that pesto to get caught into. So we've got water, I'm gonna season it with salt, then we're gonna add the pasta. So you can do this in a food processor. However, traditionally pesto is made in a mortar and pestle. So we're gonna start by just adding the single clove of garlic with a little bit of salt and breaking that down. Once your garlic's into like a nice paste like that, we're gonna add our toasted pine nuts and we're gonna start to break those down. Once you've got something that's like a dry peanut butter consistency, we're gonna check our pasta. Give that a mix. The mixing, make sure it doesn't stick together. Now we're gonna add our Parmesan. Now you can just kind of cut pieces in there, or it's kind of easier if you just grate it in there. It just means you're gonna have less time to pound it out. The other thing we're gonna do is add a little bit of oil at this stage, and then we'll add the majority of the oil once our basil is in there. We're gonna do our basil in stages. So now we've got this lovely paste, we can start adding our basil. Okay, you can start adding basil like 2 kind of pinches at a time. I'm working that in, and until that's broken down, don't add any more. So the reason that using a mortar and pestle is better than a blender is that I think just that action of the stone versus stone brings out a lot more of the oils and stuff in the basil, and you get more of a vibrant flavor. But the trick is, can I do it in the time it takes for Sally to cook? I'm not sure, but we'll soon find out. Okay, now most of our basil is broken down. We can start adding oil. We kind of want to do it like you would like making a mayonnaise, just a little bit at a time. Make sure you scrape down the sides and you're getting everything. We're also going to add a pinch of salt. Look, Mum, one hand. Done. See, it's easy. I'm not going to need heaps of pasta water for this one. I am going to save a little bit, just like that. Put our pasta back in our empty pot. Get all that pesto on there. Stir that through. Just a little splash of water. Time to plate. More Parmesan and a drizzle of olive oil. And that is pesto pasta. Simple, elegant, and 5 ingredients in that sauce. That's delicious. If you want to impress someone, make them that. They'll love you forever. Fettuccine Alfredo. It's worth mentioning very early on in this segment that this is not a traditional Alfredo. This is an American Italian style Alfredo. We will be using this delicious ingredient, cream. I fully understand that cream is not very common in most Italian pastas. However, it's not common. But it does exist. There is some classic Italian pastas that do have cream. This is not one of them. Anyway, we'll carry on. First things first, big water, sound like an American. Big pot of water. Season well with salt. Yay, goes crazy. The crowd goes wild. Fettuccine. And that goes, let it spread out. In literally 30 seconds, that'll be relaxed enough where all of it will be in the pot. We'll come back to that in a second. So what else are we gonna need? Some streaky bacon. You can use smoked or you can use not smoked, your preference. Some people don't like the smoked stuff in here. I don't mind it, but this is a non-smoked streaky bacon. You want the streakiness because you want some fattiness to it. Just gonna cut it into pieces around 1 centimeter thick. That's good to go. Got some fresh thyme here. We don't need heaps of it. Thyme can be pretty strong, so you don't want it to completely overpower everything. Say 6 nice sprigs. Say that 4 times quickly. 6 nice sprigs, 6 nice sprigs, 6 nice sprigs, 6 nice sprigs. Did it. And we're just gonna run our knife through that. We don't have to go too fine, but lovely fragrance thyme. We've got some garlic. We're gonna crush and then just run your knife through that again. Again, we're gonna cook this like we did in the first one, slowly once the bacon's rendered down a bit, so it doesn't have to be too fine. We can probably start stirring our pasta. It's time to get the sauce going. Put that to the side, a pan, just a tablespoon of olive oil. That's just to get the bacon starting. I'm gonna render some of that fat out. So then the other thing we're gonna need is the cheese. Now the cheese isn't just for the top of pasta. It's also the main flavor in this pasta. The cream is the vehicle to carry the cheese flavor. So we're gonna use quite a lot of that. So to make sure we're kind of ready, we're gonna grate that now. And the other thing we're gonna do now so that we're ready, is just cut up some parsley. So we're starting to get some color in our bacon here, which is great. That's what we're looking for. Now we're gonna add our garlic and our thyme. It's really important that we keep moving that garlic now. Otherwise it's gonna go all bitter. Now we don't wanna lose any of that delicious color in the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna glaze a little bit of white wine. Now if you don't have any white wine, you can literally use a little bit of pasta water to do this. But you see how when I scrape the bottom of this, all that delicious flavor comes off, which is what we want. Once that wine's pretty much reduced away, we add our cream. This is all about being really careful with your cream. If you boil this too hard, your cream's gonna split, which is not what we want. We want the cream to stay together. We do want to reduce it a little bit though, so it thickens nicely and sticks to our pasta. This is gonna be tight, this one. I don't know if the cream's gonna reduce in time. Ooh, a bit of trepidation. What's gonna happen? How it cooks my pasta? I'm not sure. I do know that it's really hot though. All right, a few more minutes, we might be all right. Let's have a taste. Good. A little bit of salt, not too much. Some fine ground black pepper. Time to add the parmesan. Stir that through. That'll help thicken our sauce too. Let's have another taste. Oh, yum. Traditional or not, that's delicious. Doesn't matter where you're from, that tastes good. All right, it's time to drain our pasta. We're gonna keep some of that water just in case we need it. We're gonna turn our heat down low. We don't want that to reduce anymore. We also don't want that cream to split. It's really important. The cheese in there will help stabilize it. But the last thing we want is a split sauce. Pasta in the sauce, give it a toss. We are gonna need a little bit of that pasta water. All right, this is looking good. See here, it's nice and saucy, but we don't have any sauce left in the bottom of the pan. That's what we're looking for. We want the sauce on the pasta. Get some parsley in there, stir that through. And if it does get a bit dry, just use a little bit more of that pasta water. Right, time to plate. Use a carving fork, spin it around. Bit of the extra sauce, a little bit of extra parsley, more cheese, because you can never have enough cheese. And there you go, our traditional American fettuccine Alfredo. I guess you better taste. It's delicious. It's rich, it's indulgent, and it reminds me of growing up in New Zealand in the 90s, because we didn't know any better back then. As far as we knew, this was Italian food. Boy, was I shocked once I got to Italy. But it's still delicious, you can't deny it. So there you go, Arrabbiata, fettuccine Alfredo, and a pesto pasta, all absolutely delicious and proof that flavor doesn't need to take all day. Legends, thanks so much for watching. Like this video if you take anything from it, subscribe if you're not, and let me know down in the comments what one you tried first. We'll see you next week for another recipe. Peace.